Hey everybody, it's me. It's me, Gregory Mannarino, back again for my post-market wrap-up on this day. When I tell you that this day was lovely, believe me, it cannot be stressed enough. I want to cover what happened today, some of the absolutely almost, well, no, not almost, bizarre things that came out of certain people's mouths, the things we witnessed today. This was a day for me. You remember, how many of you out here remember me telling you that there are times when I end up on this side of the floor where I'm just laughing, this side of the floor when I end up in the fetal position, rooting and grasping? Well, today I got a new thing. I had a positive Babinski reflex. For you medical people out here, you'll know what that is. And that was because of what we witnessed here. Off the freaking Richter scale. Unbelievable. I forgot to tell you the date, didn't I? Thursday, August 16th, 2018. Okay, so here we go. This whole thing today, this rally, first of all, this rally today in the stock market, well, you know what? Hold that thought. Hold that thought, because that's going to bring me to a whole bunch of other things. We found out that apparently, no specifics at all, but sometime towards the end of this month, there was supposed to be a meeting of the minds. A meeting of the minds between China and the Trump administration to talk about tariffs and or trade. You know, this is, right now, they just talk. They're just talking about, dialogue here. They can't do it over the phone. They can't have a conference call. They actually have to fly in here to Washington to have a real, meeting of the minds. Look, this whole thing here, in my opinion, was a ruse. This was just, again, the markets have been bleeding since this whole thing with Europe and Turkey, the European banks, our banks here, insolvency. They needed something to bolster the market. Again, they pulled out the prop yesterday. The prop being, I love you guys, you're so smart. Warren Buffett was the prop. They pulled him out. This is what Warren's buying right now, everyone, to try to ease the market. Didn't really work so well. So they had to do something like this, float this story out. This is not the first time we've seen this. This is the only reason why I'm able to pick it out, because it's a repetitive pattern over and over and over again. So again, they float this thing out here about a meeting of the minds here at the end of the month. No specifics whatsoever. All of a sudden, the stock futures go from being negative last night to being way positive just off of this. So, they got the desired effect. No doubt about it. We might hear next week, or whenever they don't really need it anymore, that it's going to be postponed. That's how they're going to play this. You understand? The markets are 100% fake. The information that we get fist-fed is 100% fake. It's unbelievable. You all know that. So let's talk about the effect of some of this today with regard to how the markets reacted. Incredible. So, stocks were off to the races today. Number one, off of the back of this bit of information that was kind of floated out here. True or not, I don't even think it's true. But that's again my take on it. I've only seen it a million times, so don't take my word for it. Then of course, we do get some good earnings and good forward guidance. Walmart, Cisco, that helped push the Dow higher. No doubt about it. So these were definite positives. Now we got some negative economic information today, which helped boost the stock market. The Philadelphia Fed Manufacturing Index, and I mean fell off of a cliff. That means the Fed is going to keep pumping the easy money, more borrowing, more debt, more deficits, more inflating the debt bubble. That's the grand plan here, period. The end. You all know that. So the perspective is pretty simple with regard to the market. This big rally today, sit down for this one. This is where I want, you won't even need one functioning brain cell to put it together. The broader market, the S&P 500, didn't even finish higher by 1%. Not even 1%. I think 0.75%. That was the rally today in the broad market. The NASDAQ didn't even put on 0.5%, not even 0.5%. The real story was the Dow Jones Industrial Average and the Confederacy of Dunces, especially on CNBC. When I tell you they were in multi-orgasmic phase, I'm surprised they were able to speak in between orgasms as the rally, this epic rally, not even 1% on the S&P 500 played out. That's what I want you to think about here. Despite the fact that we got, apparently there's going to be some kind of a, the market's anticipating some kind of a deal with regard to tariffs, with regard to trade wars on this completely off the wall speculation that there's going to be a meeting sometimes at the end of this month. No specifics. So we get this big piece of news. We found out a couple of stocks did well today, which did vault the Dow Jones Industrial Average pretty high. We're not at an all-time record high. But despite these two things, the S&P 500 couldn't even put on 1%. Are you kidding me? And this is what caused a multi-orgasmic event across the spectrum of the Confederacy of Dunces? I mean, seriously, this is why I had a positive Babinski all over my house, not just here. Go look up positive Babinski sign. That was me, okay? All day. In between fetal positions, rooting, grasping, all of that. Now, how about this? Look, Kudlow. I posted a couple of things about Larry Kudlow today. Why President Trump would choose this guy, I have no idea. This guy, and don't take my word for what I'm about to tell you. Look it up for yourself. There's videos all over the place. At the top of the last housing bubble, and stock market crash. I mean, literally almost as they were happening. He was asked, because he's such an expert, if there was an issue with the housing and the bubble and the stock market. He said absolutely not. Nothing was going to happen. He laughed at people. He ridiculed people. I mean, you want to talk about a guy who got it so wrong that, I mean, he should be put in exile somewhere on the planet with no one can even look at him. It's really the truth. It's off the scale. But this guy is the new expert, and this is what he said today, which is mind-blowing. He goes on to say, on international television, he goes, are you ready? Sit down for this one if you're not sitting, or pay attention and go put on a Star Trek outfit, or whatever you got to do. He said, I'm no China expert, but China's economy is doing terribly. Quote, his words. You got to laugh at this stuff. It's just too much. What else did we find out? Copper hit, I think it was a 1-year low today. What does that tell us? That should explain to you that the global recovery that we've been double fist fed and foot fed and every other kind of fed you could think about really may not be so true here. Also in the United States, although, we're in an economic boom. You do know that, right? More borrowing, more debts, more deficits won't stop. But the narrative is this is it. This is as good as it gets. It's unfreaking believable, people. Let me just talk about this market real quick. I think what happened here, this story, not only was it floated out there, this China thing, this mystical meeting that's going to happen whenever it happens, because there's no specifics on it. This was obviously floated out there by the White House for two reasons. Number one, to stop the bleeding in the markets. Number two, as a short squeeze. They wanted to get the shorts out, and that's why the Dow. Actually, you know what? None of the markets did anything today. Scratch that whole thing that I just said. I do believe it was a short squeeze, but nothing happened. This big rally today was a zero. I mean, you gotta laugh. You gotta sit back and freaking laugh. Or get a positive Babinski sign. See, I'm even having an issue here with speech. It's incredible. I can only imagine what's in store for me tomorrow. Rooting, grasping, Babinski sign, fetal position. Now I can't talk. What's coming down the pike? I don't know. All right, with that said, people, I'm going to let you all go. I want you to ponder the things that I've spoken about. I want you to, if you had a chance to watch the C.O.D today and you got to see their faces in full multi-orgasmic phase when the S&P 500 didn't even finish up 1%. I don't know, people. Beam me up. Get me out of this place. See you in the morning.